Kathy, and today I am here to do my June and July wrap up. I read only 2 books in June, so there was no way I was going to make a video about 2 books. So I decided I would just combine June and July. I still barely read in July as well, so I've got only 5 books here for you, one being a DNF, but I will talk about that one a little bit later on. All right, I'm gonna hop on in. The first book I read was part of the Ravenel's Read Along. This is by Lisa Kleypas. This is the first book in the series, Cold Hearted Rake. In this book we have Devon and Kathleen. Kathleen is the widow of Devon's cousin. Devon's cousin was a hot-headed fool and got himself killed. He got himself thrown off a horse, and he was an earl, and now that he's passed away, Devon has taken his place as the new earl, and he is really unhappy about it. The title is basically falling apart. There's no money. It's bankrupt. And he's gotten stuck with this entire situation, and he's very, very unhappy about it. And in comes Kathleen. Again, she's the widow of the previous earl. And they meet, and sparks fly, not in the best way, at least not in the beginning. But they come to like each other, and it's an interesting one. It was, for me, a really good start to a series. I wouldn't say it's my favorite in the series, but it's still a good one. I liked the introduction to all of the characters in the series. There is a second romance that kind of begins the halfway point in the story, and goes all the way throughout the end, and then takes up a little bit more and more of the book as you go on, which I think for some people could be annoying. I didn't really care either way, and I actually kind of enjoyed the other romance a little bit more than Kathleen and Devon's. Not to say their story wasn't good, it just wasn't. The other story was more entertaining, I guess. I'll just put it that way. I ended up giving this one 4 stars the first time I read it, and I decided to give it 4 stars again. It's good. I like it. It's not the best book in the series, but it is enjoyable. The next book that I read, which was in June, is The Wickedness of a Highlander by Alyssa Braden. And this book is so large. This is the 4th book in the series. This is the Midnight in Scotland series. And in this book we have Sabella and Alexander. Sabella is the younger sister of an earl. Her brother was very evil, very mean man, and he abused her a lot. Her brother basically got his brother wrongfully imprisoned, and there's a whole big to-do about it. And there was a situation that went down, and Alexander was shot and hurt, almost died. Sabella was there that day. He assumed that Sabella had something to do with it, and so he's pretty much hated her ever since. He hates the sound of her name. He hates everything about this woman. She goes to America, and when she comes back, she decides that she's going to make her way back to Edinburgh. And the 2 people that she is with, which is this elderly couple, they rob her and leave her there by herself with no money, no clothes, nothing. And she basically has nowhere to go, and so she ends up in Glen Scanadu, which is where the McPhersons are from, is a place called Glen Scanadu. She is asking everyone in town for a job. Like, I just need to make a couple bucks so that I can find a way to get out of here, except for Alexander, who happens to be looking for a maid. And she's basically like, well, shit, there's no one else I can ask. Like, I'm going to have to talk to him. And so she basically begs him, like, please take me on as your maid. I know you hate me, but like, I really need this. I have no other options. And so he hires her, and it's pretty stinking funny. She's a gently bred lady, and therefore she knows nothing about chores. She knows nothing about being a maid, and she's a mess. Like, this woman is a mess. She doesn't know what she's doing, and he just kind of kicks back and watches, because for him, this is his chance to kind of get back at her. And he's just reveling in it. It didn't feel like a true enemies to lovers, just because it was more him hating her, but her not hating him. Yeah, Alexander, everybody talks about how he's this, like, really tough guy, and he's like, you know, he's a killer. They make him seem like this scary, like, assassin or something. Like, everybody's just like, oh my gosh, he's so scary. Oh my gosh, he's so dark. And you have to be really, really careful with Alexander. And she's like, no, I don't. He's actually really nice. He's allowing her to, like, mess up everything. Like, she can't cook. She's burning everything. She can't clean. She's, like, screwing up the laundry, and, you know, his clothes are either shrinking or, like, the colors are bleeding, and he's got to walk around wearing, like, it's just, it's funny. Like, he puts up with so much crap because she doesn't know what she's doing, and she's like, oh, he's not kicking me out. He must at least be a good guy if he's not kicking me out. This one was really interesting. There were quite a few funny moments, and it definitely kept me entertained. I would say out of the entire series, this one isn't my favorite. I think for a lot of people it is their favorite. For me, it was, I think I gave it 4 stars. So for me, I've given all the other books either 4.5 or 5 stars. So this was actually the lowest rating for me. But I did still enjoy it. It's a interesting premise. The next book I read is by Sarah MacLean. This was part of the Tea and Biscuits with Tara and B read along. And this is 9 Rules to Break When Romancing a Rake. And I really, really like this one. This one was so good. So we have Calpurnia, or Callie as she's called, and then Gabriel, who is a Marquess. And Callie basically is at a ball one day. It's like her first year coming out, and she sees Gabriel, and they have a conversation, and she's very, very shy. She's kind of already become a wallflower, even though it's her first season, and she just doesn't really feel good about herself. And he has this conversation with her and tells her how strong of a woman she is, and, you know, she definitely has the vibe of the Calpurnia, which is, I think, either like a Greek or Roman god or goddess or something like that. And he's like, you embody her, like, you totally give the feel of that goddess. And so she basically, like, gets googly eyes for this man, because she's like, oh my gosh, he said I'm wonderful. And yeah, he greased her up real easy. Like, she was only like 19, so she falls in love with him, and it's years later. She's now pretty much in spinster territory, and she overhears her sister one day. Her sister is talking to her fiance, and her sister is talking about how I don't want to say lame, but in some ways she kind of calls Callie lame. She's just like, yeah, she doesn't do anything with her life. She's just kind of there, like, existing. She's doesn't have any prospects to get married, and if she's gonna be a spinster, like, what does she have going for her? And Callie's just kind of like, she's right. Like, I literally have no marriage prospects and I'm just kind of here. She's talking to her brother one day and she kind of explains to him how she feels about this. And he's like, you need to put together a list of things that you want to do that are out there, that are just for you. And so she and her brother start making a list, and then she starts adding to the list. And it's a very interesting list. She's got some random things on there, like learn to fence and be part of a duel, and like all this crazy go to a men's club. But her first goal is to get a first kiss. And so she decides she wants her first kiss to be by Gabriel. So she goes to his house at like midnight and basically asks him to kiss her. Which, okay, girl, bold. He sees it as an opportunity because he has a new sister that he recently came into his life, and he's trying to basically help this sister enter into society. She's like 18 or 19 years old, and she's gonna have a really hard go at it because she's Italian and she is a bastard. And so he's basically like, look, I need somebody to help my sister kind of ease her into society, and you know, if you want that kiss, I'll totally give it to you, but I really, really need your help. And so let's just have an exchange. Your kiss for help with my sister. She agrees, and it goes on from there. She starts trying to do things on her list, and he catches her several times. And at first he's like, oh my gosh, you have to stop with this damn list. And then eventually he realizes he's not going to be able to stop her. And so it's one of those things where it's like, if you can't stop him, just join him. And so he joins in on helping her get the things on her list done. This was a really, really fun book. I had so much fun with this one. Callie is just bold as brass. Like she's really cute. I really like her. She goes for what she wants, you know, once she kind of gets the spirit in her of like putting herself out there, she really, really goes for it. And I like that about her. And then Gabriel had a couple moments where I wanted to slap the shit out of him, but overall he was, he was a really cool guy. There were just a couple moments where he would, you know, they would kiss, or, you know, they'd have like a really touching moment, and then he'd either say or do something stupid, and I'd be like, really, dude? That's where you went with that? He had a few moments, but as a whole, I like them both, and this was just a really, really fun one. The third book that I read, this was in July, is by Anne Gracie. This is the third book in the Married Sisters series. This is The Perfect Stranger. And of course, in typical fashion, I jumped over the second book because why would I bother looking to see which book is next in the line? Like, why would I do that? So yeah, there were definitely some things that I was like, did I miss this part of the story? Did I... Ooh, something feels off here. And then I actually went to check and was like, yep, I skipped over a book. I could have checked, I could have looked, but nope, I did not. So this is the third book in the series. So in this book we have Faith and Nicholas, and Faith finds herself in France. She is being chased by a group of men who basically want to rape her. And she runs out onto the beach and finds this man sitting there playing a guitar, and she's like screaming for help. And he basically helps her get rid of these three men that are coming after her. And once they've been dispatched, she's like, or once they've been dispatched, he's basically like, what are you doing out here? And she's being really cagey. She won't really tell him like what's going on. But he's like, okay, just stay the night with me and my two companions, and, you know, you'll be safe with us. Like, nothing's gonna happen. Just, you know, calm down, rest, relax, you'll be fine. So in the morning, they wake up, and he's like, what's going on? Like, why are you out here in the middle of France by yourself with, like, nothing and no one? And she basically tells him how she ran away from London with a guy who she thought was going to marry her, but it turned out the guy was already married. And she had to run away from him, and so she was trying to make her way back to London, and somehow she ended up in France, and then a whole series of things happened, and, you know, now she ended up on his doorstep. She's telling him, you know, like, I'm gonna look so bad if I go back to London and I'm not married. Like, it's gonna look so bad on me. Like, I'm gonna be so ruined. And he's like, why don't you just marry me? And she's like, why would I do that? And he's like, one, it'd be helping you out a lot. And two, my mom wants me to marry, and she's been bugging me about it for years. And if I marry, she'll shut up and leave me alone. And so they basically decide it'll be a marriage in name only, that they will get married, and then she will hop on a boat and go back to London and just stay with his mom. When it comes time to leave, she decides she does not want to leave. So she gets off the boat, she goes and she buys a horse, and she just decides to follow him and his companions. They're very secretive about where they're going and why they're going. But he's like, look, if you follow us, this will no longer be a marriage in name only. We will consummate this marriage. And she's like, okay. And then he's like, also, when we get to this specific city, you have no choice. You will leave and you will go back to London. I will allow you to come with us for now, but when we get to this specific stop, you have no choice. Like, you will be leaving. And she's like, fine. So they go on their little adventure and meet interesting people along the way. But when it's time for her to go the second time, she, of course, finds her way off that damn boat again and shows back up, and then it goes on further from there. It ended kind of weird, sort of. But as a whole, it was really, really good. I loved the fact that they were these strangers. It's funny, he expected her to just go to London and just be friends with his mom and, like, stay in his mom's house for, like, the rest of her days or what. Like, he made it seem like he had no plans to come back to London. And so she was like, well, what? Wait, so I'm just supposed to go hang out with your mom? I had a lot of fun. This was an interesting one, and I am liking this series. Anne Gracie has an interesting writing style, and so I like that about her books as well. But I'm excited. I do really want to go back and read the second book that I skipped over, because I think that there are aspects to her story that started in the second book, and I want to kind of read that part of her story. I gave this 4 stars, and I really had a good time with it. And yeah. The last book that I tried to read in July, I had to give up because it was taking me so long to read it. It was just painstaking. This is by Julianne Long. This is Since the Surrender. This is part of the Pennyroyal Green series, and this is the 3rd book in the series. In this book we have Chase, who is a former soldier, and Rosalind, who is the widow of his former captain, or maybe commander, I don't know. But they were in love while she was still married to her husband and the war was going on. They had feelings for one another, but they couldn't obviously do anything about it because she was married. But then her husband dies and they don't see each other for years. And when they do, it's because her sister has gone missing and she needs help to find her. And she's like, you're the only person that I think can help me with this. And so she goes to him to ask for his help. And it's basically the story of them kind of going on a mission to find what happened to her sister. I struggled. I really, really struggled. Like I've struggled with this entire series. The first book was okay, but it didn't blow my socks off. The second book, I had a really hard time with the hero. There were some good moments in the book, but overall it wasn't like a great read either. And then this book, I had to DNF. So I'm not loving this series as a whole. It's just, it's I don't know. I keep hearing that there are some really great books in the series, so I'm gonna keep trying, but this one just didn't do it for me. I was reading like one chapter per day at one point. Like it took me almost 2.5 weeks to get, let me see how far I got. I had this much left, and I decided, you know what, I'm never gonna finish this book. It was boring. It bored the ever-loving Christ out of me. Like it felt like nothing was happening the entire book. And yeah, it was just, there was nothing to keep me entertained, and I just kind of felt like I was wasting my time. That just, it kind of sucks. It's very, very rare that I DNF books, like very rare. I will really try and push through, but I just couldn't any longer. So, yeah, it sucks, but sometimes you just, sometimes you just can't do it. So, yeah, this one was a 0 because I didn't finish it. So, are you tired? You look so tired. Oh, you don't want me to kiss you? You don't want me to kiss you? You don't want me to kiss you? So rude. Okay. Well, I guess 4 out of 5 is better than nothing. I've been in such a slump, you guys. I've been in such a slump. And I'm reading one of my favorite books of all time right now, and I'm still struggling through it. So I'm really going through it, but I'm hoping things pick up, and you know, like I don't want to force myself, but at the same time it's like I really want to read, but at the same time I don't feel like reading. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just a very frustrating feeling. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching all the way through. Leave me some comments in the comment section. Have you read any of these books? What did you think about them? And is there anything that you've read recently that you really enjoyed? Just leave me some comments. If you've made it to the end of the video and you want to leave a emoji to show that you watched all the way through, go ahead and leave me a taco emoji, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.